remaining.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the ProDota National Cup. We have Game 2 between France and Turkey on the way, as Turkey do have a one-game lead. This stream is, of course, brought to you by esportgaming.com, G2A, Hitbox, D2L. Be sure to check them all out. Show them some love, because they are showing us love, and they deserve it. I'm Mikelorus, going to be joined by Lyrical Gangster for this second game. Looks like the bans are going to be slightly different. Doom going to be taken out, as, well, it was a pretty large player there for Team Turkey by the end game.
Absolutely. He became a huge influence. I think, honestly, though, that really what ended up winning the game for Turkey that last time was really great support play, consistently trying to secure the jungle for the Spectre. The Spectre was able to farm on up and able to get that Radiance at a little bit delayed time, but a decent time considering she ended up going for that Morbid Mask first. And all in all, it seemed like they were able to prioritize keeping that Spectre alive consistently. And even when she ended up getting ganked, even when the team fights ended up breaking out and they were going their wrong way, the couple of times that Spec was able to get out of it, it made the difference. And I think that that really was what ended up sealing the deal there for Team Turkey to win that first game.
Well, Darkseer is going to be the first pick here for Team France. This is the hero that, or as of a couple days ago, at least had 100% pick ban rate. So here we go. It's not going to be an exception to the rule just yet. It's a pretty safe start here for the French side. They could go into any number of directions with this hero, and it doesn't really require successful aggression or anything like that. Like, if you just chill with the Darkseer, you're usually going to be okay. Whereas for the Night Stalker, if you're not being aggressive properly and getting those kills, you're going to fall off, and you're not going to have an impact on the game. So I do like this switching of gears here for France, whereas for Turkey, it's a Tusk and Dazzle, so it is going to be that snowball combination from them super deadly early on.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to make good use of that, hopefully, I think, here. And against the Darkseer, ooh, and a Shadow Fiend picked up as well. Be kind of surprised if we didn't end up seeing either an Earthshaker picked or banned in this game here as well, considering that Shadow Fiend is in play. I do feel like probably I just sort of feel like consistently Shadow Fiend is one of those heroes that if an Earthshaker is in the game, either he's on your team, you're able to sort of turn around a ganks or potentially land a double raise on top of somebody and get a kill, or if he is against you, you're able to cut him off from his retreat assets. He doesn't really have a great way to escape ganks, and you can make a lot of use of that. And we do already see the Earthshaker band on out there for the Radiant, so maybe hoping to be able to gank him in the early game. We'll see what the next pickup is that they end up going for.
We can already see Team France trying to protect their Shadow Fiend as much as possible, getting rid of the other big mid laners in the game at this stage. Leader was already taken out, now Storm and Queen of Pain, although I don't think I've seen a Storm Spirit since the change. Shadow Fiend right now should be going up against a Wind Ranger, right? Like, that's just the only, or one of the few remaining really good mid lane heroes and that have a decent matchup versus the SF. Whereas for the Team Turkey side, they ban out the supports, the Shaker, and the Winter Wyvern heroes that do make the Snowball combo from the Tusk and Dazzle very difficult to actually connect with. Interesting to see these different prioritizations on these bans, but, Team France do need their two supports. Should be like a Witch Doctor or something like that, maybe even get a drop into a support Sand King. They do have their options.
Yeah, certainly lots of options. I'm wondering how a TA might fare here as well, potentially for the Radiant. Could be a solid pickup there, sort of synergizing with the minus armor that's coming out from Dazzle as well. I think that it's probably going to be one of those things now, though, where you see the Darkseer pickup, the Shadow Fiend pickup as well. To me, this looks like they might be trying to apply some pressure early on, maybe get that Shadow Fiend to mech quickly. You can also do things. I feel like you don't necessarily always go for a Shadow Fiend here to try and sit back and farm a ton and then not do anything with that. He wants to be moving around the map and making stuff happen. I feel like I haven't seen a Yule Scepter Shadow Fiend in forever, but back when that was a thing with Blink Dagger Yules, maybe it still is a thing, but it could also be a viable strategy here as well to try and get pickoffs. But with the Darkseer there as well, already having some sort of grouping up mentality, being able to apply pressure early, it seems like that might be the route that they're going to go in this game.
Ooh, Turkey though, they're going to grab an Io. This combo is being seen quite a lot more, and Dying has slipped through the pool, is going to be grabbed immediately by Team France. So yeah, now looking for that aggro. If the Darkseer is going to be going for a mech most of the time, Shadow Fiend can go for, I think the most common item, if not the mech, is Sanjin Yasha. I might just be making that stat up, but I feel like most of the time if a Shadow Fiend has a Darkseer on his team, he goes for the SNY, goes for the stats But yeah, it's going to be now a little bit tough. Not the Wind Ranger versus SF, probably IO Tiny versus the SF. This is IO Tiny on the Radiant side as well, so they do have super easy access to those stacks. This is potentially going to be a rough lane for the Shadow Fiend. You would think he shouldn't die, but just the explosiveness of this combo is really hard to deal with. And they also do work pretty well together with Tusk if he decides to roam in as well.
Certainly, lots of potential here for gank ability, lots of potential for picking heroes off, scaling well into the late game, split pushing abound. The Witch Doctor's picked up almost immediately, so that's a nice little bit of counter coming on out. But we did already see the Winter Wyvern also banned by the Radiant, so not wanting to have to face into that problem. I do still think that there is a lot of potential here for the Radiant to. I think, though, that with the Dazzle Tusk on one lane and then Io Tiny in another, you need to be able to have somebody that can sort of persevere and last hit and be able to be okay in lane solo. So, what do you think about potentially a Clockwork here? Is that a little bit too tough against maybe an Undying Witch Doctor combo or even just an Undying?
Yeah, I think it will probably be a little bit better if they went for a Bloodseeker. Like, you could probably assume that the Darkseer is going to be in that off lane, and a Bloodseeker can just handle that lane by himself, leaving the Tusk Dazzle as even a dual lane. Again, whenever you draft an IO Tiny, you do have quite a bit of flexibility in your lanes, but as far as heroes that are self-sufficient, Clinks and Bloodseeker are near the top of my list if Doom is out at this patch. It's not going to be the Clinks, so yeah, the options are, kind of slim, but also very flexible. If they don't want to go for Bloodseeker, they can just juggle up their lanes and find something else that works.
Certainly, yeah, there's a lot of potential here. And Tusk Dazzle don't necessarily have to go together in lane either. You can throw somebody else in there and keep them alive with the Dazzle if you want. Another hero as a core part of your strategy. They could potentially go for, something like an anti-mage here if they wanted to. It'd be a little bit strange, but they go for the Ember Spirit. So maybe we will see Dazzle stay in lane with the Ember Spirit there. What do you think about Ember Spirit sort of sustainability on his own in lane? Is that something that can work against a Darkseer, or is it a little bit too hard?
It's a little bit too difficult, I think. Like, yeah, sometimes you'll have the shield to absorb a couple of those Ion Shell ticks, but for the most part, Ember Spirit's going to be steadily losing HP. Now with Jakiro going to round out the very aggressive ending from the French side. Yeah, the Ember Spirit now looking a little bit awkward. As good as the Ember Spirit is as a hero, when he's up against, like, Undying and Jakiro, that's just so much to deal with. So I'm not really sure how much I like this last pick, although it may just be because of the last pick from Team France, which I wasn't really expecting. I knew that they're going to go aggressive. I didn't think it was going to be this directly aggressive. They can take towers super easily. Really, they're just looking for, again, that timing push. This time going to be angled towards towers, not towards killing, using the liquid fire of Jakiro and using the mechanism and the power of the early game Undying to just win all those early game fights.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be probably actually a little bit easier for Turkey, if I have to be honest about it. I think that Tiny is a better early fighting hero than Spectre is, and I think that they're really well set up for being able to toss out that heal bomb, being able to have all of the fun little snowball coming on in combinations. And the only really clunky part of this draft in terms of their ability to deal with, these fighting early would be the Ember Spirit. And I think that he still can do it. He just needs to be really, really careful about his positioning. Tossing out those sleight of fists, followed up with the Searing Chains behind the Io Tiny or behind the Tusk. As long as he's able to have a bit of a meat shield in front of him, he should have a fairly decent time. But again, against the Undying, and especially if he's not able to get level 6 before the fights end up breaking out, that becomes a series where it's really hard to deal with. When we saw the Ember Spirit pickup, I was actually originally thinking that he might have been going mid against the Shadow Fiend and then switching on out and putting the Io Tiny bot to deal with the aggression coming out. But looks like it is going to be the Ember Spirit in that safe lane.
My thing just completely broke, actually. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, no, never mind. We're good. But I crashed again, so we're not good. My overlay broke because, like, I unchecked the wrong thing. But
okay,
now everything else is just terrible.
Let's call it hashtag reborn things.
Yeah, it is reborn things. Like, you guys can enjoy watching that black screen, but yeah, the Ember Spirit is, as I said, going to be kind of the weak link, and we could see, like, the lack of real answers for an Ember Spirit on the French side. The amount of CC that they have, one stun in the Witch Doctor, and that's not even a stun that's really super reliable simply because it travels so slowly. They don't have any answers to the Ember Spirit, and Jakiro really isn't a great answer. I guess you can Ice Path him, but Ice Path is just pretty bad as a skill, in my opinion. as far as locking down Ember Spirit, especially. So they're just going to brute force him. They're not respecting this Ember Spirit, saying, oh, we have to have answers for this. No, the answer to the Ember Spirit is just go kill his base.
Well, the one thing I actually just thought about right here that's somewhat interesting as well is if you do Ice Path on top of where he remnants, that's kind of cool. That's an interesting little dynamic there because he's not going to be able to dodge that one. But yeah, you're right. There isn't really a great reliable stun. It relies upon Ember Spirit to play badly, and it looks like they're going to try and find the IO over here to the side, but shouldn't be able to. Interestingly enough, the Ember Spirit sitting up towards the top lane, looking to be heading on up there with the Dazzle, and meanwhile they're going to throw the Tusk down here solo against what looks to be a Dark Seer Undying lane, which is terrifying as well.
Look at this. Feels bad from the IO. Dropped a sentry like 3 inches away from the observer ward. Oh, he's gonna get it. Okay, never mind. So it doesn't feel that bad, but still, you don't really want to be using 2 sentries to get rid of 1 observer. Take a look at the French side now. Cryo is gonna be playing the Undying. Got Paris on the Darkseer over towards mid. Tommy's gonna be playing the Witch Doctor with RVP right now in the Shadow Fiend, although I don't think they're gonna be sticking around fully together as a dual lane. They might. Witch Doctor's probably just gonna stack up, and then we have Mad going solo on the top lane up against Klaziki and Shock right now. Is gonna be under a little bit of pressure, perhaps in some portions, but Jakiro getting a solo lane, that's the dream for Jakiro, especially if you want to play the game aggressively. The extra levels make such a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's able to, get up that liquid fire levels early, going to be able to consistently keep that lane pushed out. Does look like a little bit more engagement over here by Necroman, as well as LOD here. Might be able to make something happen. Like, the Witch Doctor needs to be so careful in this lane. If he doesn't have Cask on up, he literally has no way to prevent a Avalanche toss. And as soon as Tiny gets the level 2, which he just now got, it's going to be deadly here in this lane for the Witch Doctor, and so it needs to keep really close eye on that and save his Cask for really when he ends up getting initiated on.
Alright, so it looks like we have had a little bit of a lane swap. RNT now going mano a mano versus Paris in a lane that should be, like, very Darkseer favored. Tusk is going to do okay, but he does have to worry about the dive. And then we have Undying going up towards top. Ember Spirit and Dazzle not exactly known for their tankiness. In fact, with 1 decay, Dazzle's at less than 400 HP. I don't think the French side can get any kills here, but they're going to make this lane very difficult. In fact, so difficult, they're just going to bail out right now. The Ember Spirit's going to go down to bottom. The Tusk is going to go up towards the top lane, so just one rotation is going to force out a TP.
Yeah. I think the other thing here as well that you got to keep in mind is that if you do toss a liquid fire down on top of a hero and then are able to get it a K stack, it like doubles the damage kind of in a certain way. Not doubles precisely, but it really increases the amount that you do because you're taking away HP and then you're still doing the constant DPS. So you're able to really double down on that damage. It makes it so much harder to be able to sustain in lane. It's the same reason why sometimes when you end up getting decayed, you can tango on up and heal for more than you would normally because you're going to be able to heal a higher percentage. So really, really frustrating lane to go against. And maybe we actually might be seeing the Undying going on down pod as well to just sort of chase around this Ember Spirit and make his life help. And if you're the Undying at this point, I don't think you care about spending 75 gold on a TP because you're effectively taking that away from the Ember Spirit as well.
And the changes making TP scroll 75 gold is working for the Undying at this point. Normally supports aren't able to afford this simply because they're not getting any gold, whereas the Ember Spirit, he's getting not a ton of last hits, but a couple of last hits every single time he TPs, so you're eventually just going to run out of cash, but you will run out of cash a lot later. Undying is going to follow this Ember Spirit, he said, make his life very, very difficult, and for an Ember Spirit to be under this much pressure, this much consistent pressure already is not a good sign for Team Turkey. They need this guy to get at the very least levels, but spending so much time deciding where to go and then being chased around by the Undying, sometimes the Darkseer, I'm sure, is going to get involved in that as well, because I'm pretty sure Paris is not going to leave this lane, is difficult for the Ember Spirit and difficult for the Tusk as well. Like, he can do a lot with very little, but now the Tusk is back up here versus this Jakiro 1 versus 1, and yeah, he has a level advantage for right now. Mad is just going to spam Liquid Fire, and for the Tusk, he's going to have to try to kill the Jakiro through that without the Dazzle, because the Dazzle's leaving. This is going to be a very Jakiro-favored lane.
Certainly. He can do whatever he wants. And as you said, spamming out Liquid Fire the entire time that everybody's running around, moving around these other lanes. He's sitting here happy as a clam, just, being a dual breath monster. I think that this is really putting a lot of onus for Tiny and Io to own this mid lane, basically. And if they're able to do it, maybe it ends up being okay for the Radiant because it's still a lot of damage. It's still a lot of burst that comes out from the Io Tiny. And if you're able to take down quickly the Jakiro at a start of a fight or the Shadow Fiend, once these really start breaking out here, maybe it's not going to matter as much because you're going to be able to have levels on that Ember Spirit, but it's still really, really tough. You want him to be able to get more in this lane than he's getting currently.
Well, mid lane, right now the Shadow Fiend's doing just fine. He's outlasting the IO Tiny partnership, and though he still can die to the explosiveness of an avalanche toss, as long as he keeps his distance and just gets his levels up, he'll get naturally tankier and a lot more difficult to kill off. Bottom lane, Cryo, once again looking at Klazinki and Shock. The lane is coming with Ion Shells, and Klazinki's going to start getting decayed right off the bat. Yeah, also forcing now the teleports in from Dazzle. Every single time Cryo uses his DP, he forces out 2 from the enemy. Do that an infinite number of times, and you're feeling really good about your Undying game. But now Paris, maybe even get a setup for a creep cut. I think he's dropping super low. You cannot get into a man fight with Cryo, though. He's going to get the chains with tower aggro as well. He's going to get first blood here. Cryo drew tower aggro. I did not think he would do that, but he was just in range.
Yeah, and the other thing here as well that actually is that the Ember Spirit was already up to level 3 and Undying was stuck at level 1, so a little bit of an advantage there. Maybe it ended up paying off. Ooh, able to get a kill there on the Shadow Fiend mid. Exactly what you want to have happen. Necroman is in a little bit of trouble though. Cask's bouncing, the regen coming at the last second. Ooh, buddy, that was close. Just barely getting away from that one with the overcharge as well, and now being able to salve on up also. He's going to be able to be perfectly fine, and Io is just going to run and throw his balls at the Witch Doctor, making him oh so sad to be in that mid lane against him.
That was a razor thin kill there from the Turkey side, but Necroman is going to get out no problem whatsoever, and now the stacks are going to continue up from MDL. He can actually double stack it because they cleared out the trees from previous. Necroman is setting a pretty good pace for himself. Again, he's not outlast hitting RVP, but this Shadow Fiend is vulnerable to death, whereas the IO Tiny definitely not as much so. They have to catch like literally triple raise or some sort of rotation if they're going to fall here. Necroman, he's going to get run by the Undying, but now he's going to turn around for an Avalanche just to show him what's what. As annoying as the Undying is, it only right now is a level 1 hero. Like, for 4 minutes in, that's not really where any hero should be right now. The support's Dazzle, level 3, Witch Doctor, almost level 3 as well in a full-on dual lane. This TP, though it is applying a lot of pressure to the Ember Spirit, is costing Undying.
Certainly, it's been a really, really rough time for him. And, you know, the thing to keep in mind also, again, is that somehow the Dire is still a lead in terms of, are still in the lead in terms of EXP by about 500. Mainly by, I think, by virtue of the fact that Dazzle's been having to chase around as well. But I think that Dazzle is still a lot more effective than an Undying is at level 1, being able to, you know, have that Shadow Wave as well, being able to have that Poison Touch. He's actually level 3 now. What am I even talking about? Hasn't taken a level 1 Shallow Grave yet, but is going to just continue to try and deal with this Darkseer with that crazy high armor already, and a little bit of trouble here in the bottom lane, but Ember Spirit should be fine.
He's going to get healed up by Shock, and though he may be forced to take creep aggro, he has Poor Man's Shield working away, has the axe as well, so he can kill them off that much faster. But we can already see how much pressure just this Darkseer is applying by himself. This is going to free Cryo to go to the top lane, get a little bit of experience, maybe apply a little bit of pressure towards this Tusk, who's been pretty comfortable sitting up on this top lane. But for the most part, just the range heroes, the lane dominator selection of the French side, working out pretty darn well for them. RNT still up on top lane, taking Liquid Fire after Liquid Fire, which by the way is level 3 at this stage. The tower hasn't really taken much damage just yet, but that is happening sooner or later. Like, it's just a matter of time before Mad brings this down.
Yeah, it's going to really start to ramp up here in just a second. And interestingly, the Undying took Soul Rip level 2 instead of taking that Tombstone. Kind of a strange build here. These Ice Shards pressing on down. And you know what? With this, being able to have Dual Breath, constantly harass on down these creeps, being able to have the Liquid Fire as well. Mid lane, maybe going to be able to find the Witch Doctor. Doesn't quite look like it. Oh, there's the invisibility rune. Oh my god, he got low. Snowball into the Witch Doctor. One more right click, and that's going to be a kill. Meanwhile, as well, down in the bot lane. Oh, I thought that the Darkseer got it, but it was just a bounty rune.
Yeah, so the Witch Doctor, level 3 right now, just running into one too many heroes. This Tiny is playing life very dangerously, living at 50 HP there, and it doesn't matter what HP you get out at. What matters is that you survive. Paris is not going to survive, however, on bottom lane. Ember Spirit and Dazzle once again teaming up to get yet another kill on this bottom lane. Just found him at a really bad spot. Witch Doctor coming in a little bit too slowly. 4-0 in favor of the Radiant. However, you can still see the CS is being led by the Dire. Ultimately, should be pretty even, and it is getting a lot closer to that even mark. For the Radiant side, even is fine. The Dire have to be ahead for the first 20 minutes of the game if they actually want to be in a comfortable position. But that's just not happening just yet. The mechanism, I think, is being built up on the Darkseer. No, it's not. What the hell? I thought he had more gold than a soul ring. Okay, apparently I was mistaken, but yeah, the mechanism should be coming up on them. They have the liquid fire being built, yet no towers are falling just yet.
Yeah, the top tower is still getting dangerously low, but you would have expected to be a little bit closer. A little bit of initiation here as well. Getting hit by that cask is going to get Maledict as well. Stun, wall goes down, maybe going to be able to find it. We do not have enough gold for Grave. He's actually going to fall right here. Snowball back in again on top of Paris, trying to turn this around. Walrus punch one time, killing that Darkseer. Maybe Talon Common is going to end up going down as well. Another cask goes out, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to find the kill there. Tiny, meanwhile, able to take down the Shadow Fiend in the mid lane, getting chased around by the zombies. It's going to toss back one more avalanche and then salve on up to keep him alive. Meanwhile, Jakiro takes down the top tower and Tusk kills the Witch Doctor as well. Action all across the map, mainly favoring the Radiant.
7-1 now. They lose a tower, yeah, but that's pretty much inevitable. As long as they get the kills, counterbalance that tower, they're going to be fine with it. Jakiro is leading in net worth at this stage, and he's not going to stop pushing, but if he's constantly losing his allies at this point, a Jakiro by himself is not enough to win you a game. Necroman and MDL, they're getting a lot. 102 getting now 2 kills on the Shadow Fiend over in mid, and now they're just going to start rotating around. They don't yet have that relocate, but running into a Jakiro just to avalanche toss him, it's not going to be an insta kill, but it's sure as hell going to hurt. There's the avalanche, there's a toss, now Jakiro back down below half HP, a couple more right clicks, gets the liquid fire, gets the dual breath, but Io is going to get the last hit with some random projectile that I didn't see, or the urn. He does have an urn, and that's Jakiro finally to fall. It's a huge kill here for Team Turkey. Now, well, 7 kills in the lead. They've only lost 1 tower. They're sitting pretty at this stage. France needs to step it up big time.
It's looking a lot like the last game. It's not as clear of a timing as the Radiance was in terms of the sort of moment when it all turns back around, but I think that really it's starting to show that the France side here isn't able to make the most of the aggression that they want out of these lineups, and because of that, you're going to be able to see the Radiant really start to snowball a little bit harder each and every fight that they end up taking, and until they end up getting a mechanism up on this Darkseer, until you end up getting a couple more levels in the Undying with his ultimate as well as the Tombstone, each of these team fights is going to go worse and worse. And now looking to take this bottom tier 1 tower, this probably should have happened a while ago.
They'll bring it down pretty darn quickly because of the level 4 liquid fire, but the TPs are coming in. It's Tusk, it's the Ember Spirit, and the Tombstone is going to be deployed. It's a super low level Tombstone on level 2. Kozicki's going to put up the shield, take a lot of damage, but will be able to do a lot more. Back to Paris and to Cryo. He may fall, but no, he gets put into the snowball. Paris dies to the tower, and Kozicki's still alive. Walrus Punch going to slow down Tommy. They'll lose the Ember Spirit in a 1-for-1 trade, but there's a lot of damage being dealt to Tommy and the Undying. RNT is tanky enough probably to survive this Jakiro, and he will slip away. Now Necroman is going to make his arrival in. I don't think he can actually get close enough for anything. Shard's going to be thrown, not connect. Here's a toss. He's going to toss the Dazzle in. That's not where Dazzle wants to be, but here comes the Io and the Snowball into Mad, who's going to take an avalanche as well. He's going to fall in a 2-for-1 trade down towards bottom lane. Great management there, keeping the Io over in mid to get that level 6, while the rest of the heroes are killing off the bottom lane. They lose the Ember Spirit, but again, they hold the tower. It's a small price to pay for a lot of gain for the Radiant side.
And they're really far ahead now, I feel like, in terms of where they should be. The Radiant right now, I feel like, should be in a situation where the Ember Spirit isn't able to do that much damage, and even though he was getting ran around the map the entire start of this game, and even though right now at this point in time he's still sitting 4th in terms of net worth, he's having a big impact. You know, the Fire Remnants deal a lot of damage, as well as that charge, the Flame Guard. Well, trying to get some TPs on in here, but they're not going to be able to take on down this Tiny anytime soon. He is really tanky and can sort of consistently toss out those avalanches to keep him alive. Looking like he's going to go for drums here.
Yeah, might as well just get the stat item. You know you're going to be fighting early, and Tiny can afford to get these kind of smaller items because he can always get the later items after the farm speed increases or a Blink Dagger down the line. He's going to take a lot of damage trying to kill off his Tombstone, but still with the eye right behind him, he's going to start off at half HP, tossing back the creep, and drop him all low. Here comes the Ember Spirit one more time. Not in a great position, but Shard's going to catch onto 2, chains onto those same 2. In a lot of trouble, they'll kill out the Undying and Tommy super quickly and get a toss onto RVP, who's going to get Walls, punch up into the air, avalanche as well. He's going to fall. Fucking Mad suddenly is without allies, and he's going to try to book it. I don't know if he's fast enough. Toss forward on a creep. Is there Sleight of Fist Searing Chains? I don't think he has the range for it. Now he does. Mad's going to get locked down and brought down. It's a 4-for-0 over in the mid lane, and the tower is still held, and the tower might even be claimed by the Radiant. This Turkish side just stomping France at this stage.
They're doing a wonderful job just making it happen each and every time. We saw that time the Darkseer was pushing on down the bot lane, just now getting the tier 1, but honestly, I don't think that's completely and totally worth it. You're moving on down, you're able to make this happen. He doesn't have his mechanism, so maybe he's going to be able to have that in the next team fight, but Tusk already has his, so it's kind of a wash. And on top of that, you're also still dealing with the fact that as this game goes further and further, Tiny is probably going to be able to pick up his Blink Dagger now as well.
Tommy.
And just, oh god, he's actually going to be going straight on into this. Tommy in some trouble. Avalanche toss one time. That is a freaking dead Witch Doctor.
Man, they had a double damage rune on MD, or they were sitting on a double damage rune. I thought they were going to give it to Tiny and look for a relocate. Observer Ward getting them one kill may get them another. I thought that was supposed to be a relocation kill, but no, it's actually right around the corner. RVP is going to walk right into the toss. Avalanche a little bit delayed. Shadow Fiend not dead just yet. Necroman looking to chase him down. Looks like they'll just decide to leave. Peace on out of there. And with the Tusk actually rotating in, they can actually fight this decently well. I think Tiny is actually going to TP back to bottom lane. Smoke up coming from the south. Shard's going to fly through onto 2. RNT going to pick a fight with Cryos. MDL is going to get right on top of his friendly Tusk. The cast is going to bounce a little bit, but now they're both into the snowball. Tiny is closing right in. Avalanche toss onto 2. There goes Paris. There goes Cryo. Death Ward from Tommy's going to do a little bit of damage, but it's definitely not enough because here comes RNT looking for the Walrus Punch. Can't quite find it. So Tommy gets a kill, but it's just not good enough at this stage. Matt and Tommy in a lot of troubles. RVP is going to come right in. Necroman's going to cut off Tommy, looking for the toss, looking for the Avalanche. Cast going to bounce, kill off Shock, but Necroman's also going to get this kill with the Avalanche. Now moving through from the tether. Will dodge the ice path, walk through the tower, kind of awkward, but still they're going to be fine in a 2-for-3 trade. And bottom lane, Ember Spirit is getting a lot of space to push down a tower of his own. These trades just not quite good enough for Team France, and now Necroman has a blink.
Yeah, this is going to start to become really, really ridiculous in a second here. Watch for Mad to just get exploded. Oh, he looks like he wants to hang out here. You know you want to go around the corner, not going to be able to find him. Is going to be able to see him with the eye over here, though immediately turns around the other direction. Off to the side now, Paris trying to contest this vacuum on top. Is the tower going to go down? Ember Spirit gets the kill, and Paris gets nothing. Not going to be able to chase him on down here, I don't believe, with the Remnant being back up. Meanwhile, down over to the tower. That's going to end up being Mad going down yet again. Io on a killing spree. Not something you hear every day. Relocating behind the Shadow Fiend as well. This is going to end up being just him, though. What is he doing? He wasn't able to take the Tiny with him. Now in the middle of the tombstone. One more time. Shard's catch on top of the Flesh Golem. Maybe going to be able to turn this back around here, but it looks a little bit too much. Tiny, meanwhile, diving tier 2s to be able to take out the Witch Doctor. Zombie's gone wild, but I think that with the Ember Spirit here as well, if they want to try and contest this and fight a little bit more, they can. We do as well still have that mechanism up on the Tusk, which hasn't been popped. We don't have it up yet for the Darkseer, and he is very, very caught out if he doesn't end up moving away quickly. Run him back. There's a nice little vacuum wall, but didn't actually end up catching anybody, I don't think. And they're just going to disengage from this, no problem.
Well, it's France to now have a couple heroes over in the mid lane, yet with still no mech. If they do try to brute force this tower, we've already seen what happens, and I'm pretty sure it's just going to happen again. The relocation is not up, nor do Necroman and MDL have a TP. Or ready TPs, let's say, 30 seconds away from Tiny's. They're going to look to race this one. It's probably not going to work that great versus Liquid Fire in a tower that's already really banged up, but I'm pretty sure RNT and Shock can buy a lot of time for the Ember Spirit to get farmed, for the top lane to drop. Paris just, the France side, just not quite going fast enough. The Shard is dropping Cryo so low, and they may lose the Sigil for 100 gold, but Tower's going to fall first on top. Now it's going to be fortified in mid. Relocation, 3, 2, 1, now available. Looks like it's not going to be a defense.
Just opting to let them go away at this point in time. I mean, they had the weave stuff going on them as well, so there was a potential there to try and initiate, but not going to opt to do it this time around at least. Tiny is still hanging out in the jungle, wanting to see if anybody comes to try and farm any of these stacks here, but it's a little bit dangerous at this point. They have really great vision, being able to spot out the Shadow Fiend, but they don't really have eyes on the rest of the team. So need to be really careful about where they actually opt to initiate. Going to be able to D-ward over here in the bottom of the jungle as well. But this whole time, again, they're just creating so much space for this Ember Spirit to farm. And as you can see coming on in, he's going to actually be going for a Mithril Hammer. So maybe going quickly into that BKB, or is it Deso? What is he building here?
The Shadow? Wait. The Shadow Fiend?
No, this Ember Spirit.
Oh, he sold the sword. Okay, well, I thought that was a sword because I just saw it. I'm like, oh, he had 1 to 4. It's probably just Desolator. They're gonna catch MDL over on the top lane. Tiny's going to hide, TP out. MDL's going to try to relocate, save himself. But he's going to make it out alive for a little bit of time. It's going to be a Desolator. They just want to push. And I think that's a good decision right now for the Ember Spirit. No sense trying to farm in this type of game. Up towards top, the Io is going to dodge Ice Path. Glimmered out. Really? You're just going to tether away? Okay. I guess it's a new item. Did he just grab the Glimmer Cape? He must have. Now Necroman's waiting for Paris right on the corner. Surprise. No, it's actually going to be Cryo. Avatos, not going to 100-0 him, but a couple beatdowns. That's going to get the kill. Now it's a jump charge pop looking for Paris. And Matt at the same exact time. Io's going to draw that kill and the Walrus Punch into Paris. Not quite going to kill him off, but I don't know if he has any escape route, especially now with the Blink Toss. Necroman's going to draw a double kill off of that one. And still the Ember Spirit's on the bottom lane. If you could split push as Ember Spirit, like, you might as well go Desolator.
Yeah, completely. It makes sense. I'm just used to seeing those Battle Furies, used to seeing those, you know, occasionally Manta if there's a silence. But if he's got this much room, why the heck not? And is going to be able to just jump on in here and take on down this Shadow Fiend like it ain't no thing. Witch Doctor trying to make the most of it, but that's still going to be a dead Shadow Fiend. Ember Spirit getting that kill. Is he going to be able to make his way out of here? Doesn't look like it. Finally goes down to the Maledict, and Shadow Blade going to be the item picked up on the Tiny next as well. I think that they're going to start to have a little bit of fun here.
Yeah, I mean, they're leading 5-1 in the kill score. It's 10,000 gold and 10,000 experience in the lead for Team Turkey. They have so much solo kill potential at this stage. Like, even the Walrus Punch from Tusk, though it is only level 1, it should be level 2 at this stage. This Tusk is doing a lot of damage. Every location up towards top lane. Paris has got a surge in the other direction. Blink forward, Avalanche going to be dodged. Well played by Paris, and it looks like that should get him out of harm's way, though still taking toss and spirit damage. MDL may get jumped here, but a quick relocation back is going to bring him and Necroman back to the bottom lane, where they'll just be able to chug down on their bottom, get back up to full HP, more or less. This is looking really bad for the Dire. They're supposed to be the ones on the aggressive at this stage, but instead they're very far behind, and they may lose RPP. Avatos is going to kill out the Shadow Fiend for the up team time. Beyond Godlike Spree being extended here by the Tiny. Crowd's going to charge forward with the Flesh Golem. They're going to catch Shock with a cast, but he's going to get glimmered out, survive for a lot longer. Dust is going to be deployed, flip it late vacuum. No wall just yet. Paris gets interrupted. Now the jump in from Necroman. Toss going to kill up the Darkseer. Jump in from Kazinki as well. Avalanche onto 3. Triple kill for Necroman with the 4th to fall and a 5th to fall shortly after. That's GG. 19 minutes in, and Turkey absolutely raffle stomp France in game number 2.
Looking really, really strong. I've been incredibly impressed by them so far. First time that I've seen them in this tournament yet, and already take a 2-0 lead. So they're going to move right on up into the group stage. I believe they're second now, behind Finland still. Really, really solidly done.
This is the first game we've actually seen from Turkey, just because of the delayed nature of this tournament. But yeah, doing pretty well up against France, who I was expecting to put up a little bit more of a fight. Like, it was a long time ago we last seen Denial, Sigma at one point as well, but they just couldn't seem to get it all together, at least not hold down their lanes enough to make it so that they could go for these aggressive plays. So that is going to mean that 3 points are going to be accrued by the Turkey side, and France, unfortunately, still at 0. We're done for today, guys. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Lyrical Gangster. We hope you enjoyed the games. Hope you come back tomorrow, because we do have more games then. And yeah, if you did enjoy the cast, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Mikelorus for myself, at Lyrical Gangster with a 3 instead of an E for my co-caster. Aside from that, we are all done here, guys. See you next time. GG.